Welcome back. So we just spent some time talking about how you can think about classroom management and how you might make some adjustments when working with your advanced learners. And now we're going to look at extra credit and talking to parents about grades. So what I want to encourage you to do is think about developing an extra credit policy. And that might seem kind of weird, but hopefully by the end of this, I'll convince you that it just might change your life, because I feel like it changed mine when I was teaching my advanced students. So it's really common close to the end of the marking period for students to be lined up at your desk asking you for extra credit. They suddenly become aware of what their grade is and don't like it, or they feel like they're just on the edge. They have an 88 or an 89 and they really want an A. But the last thing that you want to be dealing with at that point in time in the year is more things to grade or even coming up with extra credit assignments. So that's where the extra credit policy comes in. We've created a download for you so that you can adopt this and start using it in your classroom right away. So first, the extra credit policy is something that I introduced to students at the beginning of the year, and it's also mentioned in their syllabus, which goes home to their parent or guardian so that everyone is aware that it exists right up front. So the extra credit policy stems from my philosophy that when it comes to extra credit, students should be doing the extra work, not you as the teacher. So whenever they want extra credit, they need to complete this. The first question that they need to answer is they need to present what they want to do. So what is the work that they're going to do to earn extra credit? Then they're going to explain why the work is relevant and should be considered as extra credit. So we want to make sure that they're doing something that still aligns with what the class is instead of just something seemingly totally random. Then they're going to think about how many points they should be able to earn for the assignment and explain a little bit why they should be able to earn that many points. So this also connects back to students taking ownership. They can start to look at what is their current grade, how many points are factored into earning that grade, and how many points do they need to get the grade that they want, to kind of help them decide what and how much extra credit do they need to be doing. Then the student sets a due date saying they're going to have this done by X date, and we have an agreement that there are no exceptions or extensions provided when it comes to extra credit, and that if it's not submitted by the date above, there is going to be no chance for extra credit. This is just continuing to reinforce that the student needs to take ownership and responsibility for their work. The last two boxes, the student explains how they think you as the teacher should assess the extra credit. This is going back to, this is more work for the student, not more work for you as the teacher. And then they also fill in what materials they need for the assignment. This part is really important because you need to have a conversation about who is supplying the materials. Are they able to use materials that are coming from the art room and cutting into your art budget? Or is it something that they need to provide the materials? So this can make it easy to have that really quick conversation. Finally, the student signs it and the teacher signs it. Part of my extra credit policy is students know they cannot submit an extra credit proposal within the last 2 weeks of the marking period. It's just too late at that point as we're trying to wrap up projects, wrap up grades, and get them submitted. But again, it's important to let them know that right up front so that everyone is on the same page. Now, we also know that we tend to get the angry parent email that wants to know how in the world their child doesn't have an A in art. When we get those emails, we tend to feel really frustrated and sometimes angry. And so what I want you to think about is how you can make a few adjustments that is, one, going to really cut down on the amount of those emails that you're receiving, and two, change how you respond to them. And so that comes to the second download that we have, which is a grade reflection sheet. I have students do this about halfway through the marking period, but based on how your grading cycles work, you'll want to reflect on what works best for you. So the first question, the student writes what their current grade in art is. This ensures that the student is actually aware of their grade and that they're aware of it before it's too late to do anything about it. Then, no matter what their grade is, they are going to list 3 goals to help them raise their grade over the rest of the grading period. Even if a student has 100%, they should still set goals. So their goals can be about how do they continue to have 100 or how do they continue to have a high grade in art class. If a student has lower than a 75%, then they have to fill out the bottom half, and this goes home to be signed by a parent or guardian. They have to explain why they have lower than a 75% in art. So a couple reasons that this is really powerful, especially when it's going home. The student now is taking ownership for why they have the grade that they have, and we also have an improvement plan already in place by the 3 goals that they have at the top. As students are filling this out, this is also a great time to remind students of the extra credit proposal policy that may connect to one of their goals. So now when you get that angry parent email, you have 2 really great things to present to them. One, you can say, do you remember the student's grade reflection sheet and that you were made aware of what their grade is and that we do have an improvement plan in place? And 2, did you know that students can get an unlimited amount of extra credit in my class if they just go through the extra credit proposal? Perhaps you should sit down with your child tonight and help them reflect on what they may do for an extra credit proposal. That tends to end the conversation, and only your really committed students are going to follow through on this proposal, and it actually tends to be really fun and interesting to see what they come up with. So hopefully this makes it easier for you to really think about how are you going to deal with some of those tough topics like extra credit and helping parents understand why students have earned the grades that they've earned in your art class. In the next video, we are going to talk about some specifics related to AP Art. And even if you don't teach AP Art, still go ahead and tune in as we're going to talk about ways that you can also apply it to any advanced art class.